You mentioned earlier, you were talking about how you got out to LA. Tell us again about the ice storm in Alabama.
I drove across the country in the storm of the century, March of '93, because I had a colleague of my voice teacher in college. He was good friends with a major vocal coach out here who coached like Madonna and Michael Jackson, like was really big in the 80s.
Yeah.
And he was very Hollywood. And my college voice teacher said, you got to meet this guy. I really think you should go to the West Coast. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. And came out here to meet him, and he just had me convinced. He goes, I can't do anything with you in Alabama. You got to get out here. I can't help you from there. And I said, okay. And then, so, yeah, I didn't even put my snowshoes on because we didn't have any. And I just got in the car and drove out here with a girlfriend.
And you said you were ready for VH1.
And I was ready for VH1. I thought, you give me 6 months, I'm going to be a star. It didn't happen. And I was just so sort of naive, you know. I'd never left a small town. And, oh, Lord, when I moved out to LA, I would say about 6 months into being here, I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
But I was so determined, mostly to make something of myself. Mostly because I believed that if I made something of myself and I showed people that I made something of myself, that all would be well and I would be happy. I mean, that was the overriding belief.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an unconscious belief.
Yeah.
It was just what was in there
Mm-hmm.
driving me. It was too nebulous for me to try to piece together a career. You know, it was, and it was depressing for me because I had a mind that wanted more order. I don't know, I just sort of saw how much out of control you are in terms of furthering your career. Mm-hmm. You know, I was used to being this is what happens when you're in college and you're in a contained environment and you know you have to complete this credit, and you do this and you do this, and life just sort of goes from A to B to C to D. Then you finish, and unless you're going to grad school where you're going to do more A to B to C to D, you know, as a musician, you get out of college, if you go to college, and you go, now what? I mean, I just didn't know how to build a life, and I wasn't getting enough constant feedback and stimulation to keep me encouraged to keep going. Mm-hmm. Kulak's was just a real sweet little singer-songwriter place that had an open mic night that I went to, you know, when I was maybe in my late 20s or something. Mm-hmm. And I remember I did a song, and I remember the guy going, "A star is born, ladies and gentlemen," and they're all clapping, and again, that star, carrot,